once again for episode 4 of Sofubi Sit Down. Today we're going to take a look at 2 new figures from Bandai, the movie monster series Varan and Gorosaurus. You cannot talk kaiju collecting without mentioning Bandai. They have been doing this since 1972. I do not think that there are very many Godzilla collections out there that don't at least have one Bandai figure in them. I could do an entire episode on the history of Bandai and Toho monsters, and I probably will do that at some point, but not today, because today we're going to take a look at these guys. The Varan, and we got the Gorosaurus. So let's go! Alright, here we have the movie monster series Gorosaurus and Varan. And the first figure we're going to take a look at will be Gorosaurus. So let's get him out of there and take a look at him. And let me know in the comments, are you a tag on Bandai collector or a tag off Bandai collector? My Bandais are about 50-50. It's probably not, that's a lie. They're probably 70-30. 70% of them probably do not have the tags. I'd say it was only within the last maybe 4 or 5 years that I started leaving the tags on. I know that's sacrilege to some, but anyway, there is his tag. And there is the back of the tag, and there is the inside of the tag. So there's that. Tag out of the way, let's take a look at his head sculpt. Really nice. Very, very movie accurate. Very well done. Very nicely sculpted all the way around. Super cool figure. Gorosaurus is just a cool character. He doesn't really have any powers. He's just a big giant dinosaur, which is kind of cool. But great sculpt work for the skin texture. The eyes are painted a basic white and black, which is fine for a figure this scale. The teeth are really, really well painted. They've even done sort of a wash in between the teeth, which is awesome. Tongue is pink and wiggly waggly, as you can see. He is pretty nice. On the underside here, we have a lighter spray than the paint that it is, or than the plastic, excuse me, that it's sculpted in. This is the color of the actual plastic that it's molded in. So you have the spray there. And then we have on his arms a little bit of paint on the nails. Right there, which is nice. Nicely done. A little bit of paint on his toes, also very nice. And you do have no paint on the spines, but you do have a lighter paint sprayed here in areas along his back, that's also a nice touch. Again, really well sculpted. Even this little point at the end of his tail is sculpted in there, which is cool. As for articulation, here is a seam on his head. You do get no articulation there. You do get up and down on the arms. You do get up, back, and forth on the legs. And actually, I was looking at him, and I feel like if I can get a stand and having him up like that, might be kind of cool. You know how he does his kick in King Kong Escapes and in Destroy All Monsters. That might be a cool way to display him. So I might actually do that. But yeah, those are his legs. You get a little wiggle waggle on his tail, and that is it for him. So all around solid little figure. And I do mean little. He is kind of out of scale with the rest of the figures in this line. So we'll take a look at that later on when we do comparisons. But right now, let's look at Varan and see if he is unbelievable. Is Varan, and he is really nice. Not a lot of paint on him, as we're gonna see here, but the sculpt on this guy is fantastic. Before we look at the sculpt, hang on, let's look at the tag. Like I said, I left the tags on these guys. So there's his tag. Pretty cool. There's the inside of his tag. Do with that what you will. There's the rear of the tag. Okay, now let's take a look at this guy. The head sculpt is fantastic. Just really well done. Tons and tons of little details and ridges and bumps, and he's got his big nose. I always thought it was funny. Varan does have a very big nose, like he's like me. White spray on his spines, a little bit of white and black in the eyes. Inside the mouth is painted, teeth are painted. And yeah, that's it for the face as far as paint. But again, just the detailing on all of this is really good. It is like he just crawled off the screen. He is an awesome looking figure in the face there. Then move to his body here. Again, just really well detailed, all in his, I guess this is supposed to be some sort of an armor carapace or something. You can see it's got the ridges. They've sculpted out his little flaps, so when he flies around like a flying squirrel. I mean, they've sculpted in his veins and his muscles in his arms. Again, the flap on his leg from when he's in flying squirrel mode. All the detailing here. They've got his foot bent at the proper angle for the suit, because it's a dude in a suit. And then as for the paint, I mean, you got the paint on the claws and no paint on the back claws. So they skimped on paint, but they did not skimp on sculpt for this guy. The sculpt on this guy's great. Just really beautiful. I mean, they didn't even finish painting the spines. They just stopped at that point. So as far as articulation for this guy, I mean, you're not going to get a ton, right? No head. Arms move, but I mean, you're not going to really do much with the arms. His legs do move in the back, but again, what are you going to do? He's meant to sit like that, and that is how he will sit. But just an all-around great sculpted figure. He's a super underrepresented kaiju. There are very few Varan figures out there. This one, in my opinion, is probably the best bang for your buck, unless you're going to go with X Plus. Obviously, is going to probably be a little nicer, but I don't think, off the top of my head, I can't think of any better looking Varan figures than this one. And for the price you're going to pay for this guy, I mean, you can't beat it. Both these figures are very affordable. They're definitely not going to break the bank. So, having said that, let's do some comparisons with some other figures in the collection. Let's do some comparisons with Varan. So, first up, we have the M1 Varan, which is actually a take on the vintage Bullmark Varan. So that's how they scale together. Yeah. So there's that. Then we have the Parababy, which we learned a few weeks ago that those are the smaller scale marmots. This guy is, I don't know what to say about this guy, really. He's not one of my favorite marmots, let's put it that way, but that is how they compare. That, like that. This figure is just so strange. I can never figure out what really you're supposed to do with his legs here. So I guess he's just like that. It's kind of dumb. So that's how he compares with that guy. Obviously, I would consider him much nicer than that guy. Then we have the Marmot Monster Heaven Varan, which is actually a really nice figure. Very cool. Standing and not crawling, which he does both of in his one movie. He does crawl and he does walk upright as well. So there you have that. Pretty cool. And then I also have a Marmot Vinyl Paradise that I actually painted myself back when I was experimenting. I think this might be the first figure I ever airbrushed, so forgive the pretty shoddy paint job on him. He was a glowy figure. That is how they scale together, so like that. So he is a big boy as well. And then if you want to look, we can do some other Bandai stuff, I suppose. Here's Jet Jaguar Bandai from last week. So there you go. And we have the Hedorah from the Bandai Movie Monster series. This one was released in 2022, as well as Varan. So here's how they scale. I feel like Varan's a little bit big, and I feel like Gorosaurus is a little bit small. So that's how those two scale together. Here is the Godzilla 91. Oh my god, what am I doing? The 91 Godzilla, which is also from the Movie Monster series. This one's from 2021. As you can see how they scale together. Again, I think he's out of scale. Obviously, they definitely... He seems a bit bigger than maybe he needs to be. Or maybe Godzilla's smaller than he needs to be. I don't know. And then we have the Mothra, again from the same line. This is from 2018. So you can see how they scale together. And I think they scale together pretty nice. That's kind of how I would probably imagine it. So those are pretty cool. I don't think they've ever been on screen directly next to each other ever. So, but I do think that's pretty accurate representation, right? All right, cool. Comparisons. Up, we will go with the vintage Goro by, oh boy, I got a 50-50 chance. I'm going to say Marasan, and I'm probably wrong. Somebody will tell me. Mike will tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Gorosaurus. So that's how they compare. Pretty good. Cool. All right. Then we got the Marmot Monster Heaven, which is an absolutely gorgeous sculpt and paint job on this guy. So that's how they compare. Very nice. And then we have the Marmot Vinyl Paradise. There's also a gorgeous figure. And that is how, let's get them center pedal. There you go. So that is how they compare. He's a fatty. He's a fat boy. Let's not weight shame Gorosaurus. Alright, and then with some other Bandais, let's see. We've got Jet Jaguar. So, which brings me to what I said, right? I just think he's not quite big enough. Which is a shame. So then we have the Hedorah again, so you can see. That might be right. So that's good. You've got the Godzilla 91. So that's how those guys stack. And then we've got the Mothra, which is really big. Let's see, get them over here. There you see how they compare. Stick a tag. There you go. All right, and then here's the older Mothra from the 6-inch line, and I think that's probably more like when you see them in Destroy All Monsters, and she's kind of crawling out in front of him. I feel like that's more accurate to the scaling for that. So, and now you're probably saying to yourself, well, what about the Bandai 8-inch Gorosaurus? And that's when I tell you that I am a terrible collector and don't own one. So I'm gonna have to rectify that. When I was talking to Mike Russo earlier today about this review, he was like mortified that I don't own one. So I guess I better fix that. So, but that is comparisons for Gorosaurus. Let's do some more comparisons, just real quick. But we'll keep both of these guys out, and we'll just compare them with a few other things. So here's the 8-inch Anguirus Bandai that we looked at when I did the Parababy review. So you can kind of see how they all scale together. So like I said, I think Varan, right, is more in scale with Anguirus than he is with it. The scale is, I mean, it's Bandai, it's not meant to be all super accurate. So that's how those go. Here we have the Godzilla Heisei Bandai 8-inch figure. Look at that, I got the bag protected on that one, see? So there you see how they scale, and again, like I feel like he scales better with that Godzilla. And what else we got? Oh, here's the Bandai 8-inch Baragon, which again, I think scales better with the Varan. I think this guy scales better with the larger figures. And then lastly, I actually forgot that I had this guy, so we'll throw him in. Here's the Gorosaurus, the X Plus. Obviously, it's going to be way out of scale, but I just wanted to show you. Show you that. So, oh my, he is really large. There you go. So that's how that all scales together. And last but not least, that's how they scale with a can of ice cold hams. So there you have it. That is the Movie Monster series Varan and Gorosaurus. And as I was setting up this shot, Mike texted me, and he is appalled that I don't have the 8-inch Gorosaurus. And so he said, I'm going to send you a picture of the new Gorosaurus standing next to the 8-inch Gorosaurus so you can do a comparison of that. So there it is. Thank you, Mike. So again, these are great. If you are looking for good, affordable representations of these figures for your shelf, you can't go wrong with either of these guys. They're really, really good. The Movie Monster series line, I think as a whole, is really solid. There's been a lot more hits than misses with the line. You can't go wrong with the price, and the shelf presence are really nice. If you don't care about scale on these, because they're not really meant to scale with each other or with other things, who knows. But if you're just looking for good figures on your shelf, you can't go wrong with these guys. So strong recommend for me. If you can grab them, grab them. That'll do it for now. Until next time, thanks for watching.